Today is a different type of video. I wanted to answer or address a question I get frequently is how did you guys get started? Where to all begin? They see we're at today on around 150 people, 20,000 plus SKUs, a lot of different categories, and the growth that we have, but they wonder where we started. I'm Jassim Isa, CEO and founder of an Amazon marketplace, Voadera, that does hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. And today I'm going to share our origination story, the mistakes and lessons we learned along the way, and there was too many of them. Most importantly, the sequencer, the 4x4 system that we implemented today that helps us get consistent revenue and where we ended up basically after all this time. So if you're an Amazon e-commerce marketplace company or brand that wants to grow on e-commerce marketplaces, make sure to hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and you can continue seeing behind the scenes of what we're doing. Before I jump into the depth of origination story, just to kind of give a very high level overview of where we're at today. So Videra, we basically handle everything end to end for online marketplaces. So that's ads, logistics, supply chain, compliance, everything to do with Amazon, Walmart, Target, Amazon International. We handle that on in-house. We buy the inventory and we handle everything end to end. We actually also own our own brands. We started a few brands and we bought a few brands that we run ourselves. And then for the most part, we're partnering with other brands that are looking to grow and take it to the next level. And that's where we come in and install our systems and grow those brands. So we're in the trenches day in and day out, whether it's our own brands or the brands that we partner with to grow them and take them to the next level. So just briefly getting into how we started. So I was actually born in the best state in America, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm still here till today. But when I was around 8 years old, I went overseas. My dad took me to Jordan. I'm originally from Palestine, Jordan, ethnically. So I went back to Jordan. I stayed there for 8 years, and my dad wanted to send me back for PSEO, so post-secondary enrollment option. It's a great program here in Minnesota where you can kind of learn college while you're still in high school, and it's free. It's funded by the government, and he wanted me to become a medical, basically doctor, kind of a lot of Middle Eastern's dad's wishes. So I had good grades. He wanted to enroll me in that program, so he sent me back here so I can start my medical journey early. And obviously it takes like 6 million years to get a doctor degree. So he wanted me to kind of shave off a few years and start in college in 10th grade. So when I came back, I came back here for sophomore year. And then after my sophomore year, I enrolled in community colleges, and I also went to the University of Minnesota. I was starting to obviously attend the relevant medical courses and starting to get to know a few people, studying with a few people. The class was really hard, so I had to make some friends. And one of my friends that I got really close with used to stay late at the library in the college to study some stuff, and the college was giving away free books. So he kind of suggested the idea of, listen, these books, they're going to throw them away. I just scanned one of them on Amazon, and look, it's going for 30 bucks, and we were basically getting them for free. So they were going to throw them away. I kind of scoffed away. There's no way. What do you mean we can sell on Amazon? Only Amazon sells on Amazon, and all these limiting mindsets. But actually, to be fair to him, he pushed through with me on this, and we ended up, we did the math, it was like 10 or 15 bucks. I was like, wow, that's like $300-400. We didn't know Amazon fees, all that kind of stuff. We had a heart attack when we found out. But we actually took the bucks. We went to like a Caribou that was nearby, and we started listing them. And that's kind of where the journey started. A lot of college professors were close to me. I had a very academic background, so I took classes very seriously, and they respected the hustle. So they were actually hooking me up and giving me their older college textbooks as well. And then later on, I just started buying college textbooks as a semester ended for students. They were throwing them away or giving them away for a couple bucks. So I was like, let me buy them. And then when the semester started again, it was kind of like an arbitrage where the prices would go up as the semester started and they would go down at the later ends of the semester. And we started taking advantage of that up and down. We actually started buying on Amazon itself to sell on Amazon. And that's kind of how the journey started. As we went through this journey, we obviously had a lot of learning mistakes. Like I said, the Amazon fees, we started kind of accounting, getting a warehouse or storage space, thinking we'd bake in all this money. You're an employee, realizing that we actually didn't get a lot of it. I had to loan from a couple friends and family, so a couple $100 here and there. But that was just one of the many lessons that we went through. I mean, we had to getting into more of that, we had to realize the timing thing. So this was more than a decade ago. Crazy to think. I'm 26 years old now, right now. It was right around when I was 15 or 16. I mean, right after sophomore year. So 16, 17, just as I started driving. But that was pre-COVID. As COVID came in, obviously, a lot of textbooks, even then, they were making a shift to become ebooks. So the market that we were in wasn't that fruitful. So we wanted to build something more tangible and something more long-term. And that's where we started thinking of building an own brand. And we made so many mistakes there. Part of it was ordering from the wrong supplier. Another part of it was bidding on the wrong keyword group. And back then you didn't have to bid as much, but you had to you had other problems. So for another example would be getting taken down by hijackers and a lot of black hat tactics, and understanding that keyword stuffing was a big thing. Is you don't have to have that much of a quality product. You just stuff your keywords, and we used to obsess over the product and its quality. Now it's the right thing. It was just wrong timing for that quality. So, and that's kind of some of the lessons we learned, is making sure that we're doing the right things at the right time, when it's most relevant and when it's most potent for the specific problems that we're trying to solve. And as we started to expand, I kind of started looking at other warehouses. I got a warehouse at the wrong location. It didn't have a loading dock space. And this was all back like the second or third year in. So we were still kind of small, but crazy to think back then. I mean, it was a $2,000 a month warehouse. I sat like a week or two thinking about it. It was just such a big decision. It's a $20,000 decision. It was 1 year commitment. Now we have to make those almost daily or every other day, just because of the speed of things and the seriousness. And that just shows the seriousness of the business right now, and why there's a lot of the importance of putting systems in place and processes and all that kind of stuff. And I won't go too much in depth into the story, but just a high level overview of how we started. And then we obviously started building our brands. I started catching steam and buying some brands after that, even, and seeing what things worked from there. We actually did dabbled in some arbitrage and all that kind of stuff. And that's actually another one of the lessons, like the speed of making decisions. Back then, we had to sign for our first warehouse. I think it was like 2017, and it was like 2K a month. So 24K was a 1 year lease. I sat like 2 weeks making. I can afford it back then because things were so slow. We weren't really growing. We were barely selling things. I actually just stumbled upon, I think it was one of the planners right here. Actually, funny enough, whereas like 2018 goal was to sell 2.5 million. Now we're doing, what is it, 40, 50x that in a year. So it's crazy to think, but when you're at that pace, you can afford to take longer. Now you can't afford that speed, but also making those mistakes are still very serious, which was why we have to implement systems in place, processes, and where our 4x4 system was born out of. Is like, as we kind of learned these mistakes, we kind of wanted to solidify a system that we can plug and play our brands into, and various stuff, whether it's the premium A plus content or testing, to produce reliable and consistent results. Obviously, it doesn't happen 100% of the time, but it's where you're playing a numbers game. And most of the time, the products that we plug into the system, 80 to 90% success rate, are coming out with better results, whether that's at least like 20 to 50% year over year. And that's just a lot of the learning lessons that we had during that period. Jumping into the 4x4 system, basically, and the way that we grow these brands, is where we have the first one is brand control. So making sure that we control the entire brand. There's no one jumping on our listing, stealing our box share. We have control of our distribution. There's alignment there. The second one is operational stability. We're always in stock. The third one is strategic alignment. So basically, whatever is going on in Walmart, it's in cohesion with what's going on Amazon. If there's a product launch, all the brand works together to make sure that there's cohesion. It's all working and rowing in the same direction. And the last but not least is real-time growth intelligence. We're doing what's important for that time. And like I said, all of these were built on mistakes, like brand control. We got huge wholesale orders for one of our brands. We got excited. Boom, it turns around right back on Amazon. Or we sold to a person that said it's retail, is going back on Amazon. So now we implemented the mechanisms to learn from all these mistakes to not run into it again. Once we have that stable foundation of those 4 pillars, then we have the 4 growth levers. The first one is traffic. Are listings being seen? The second one is click-through rate. Are people pressing on it? So that's where I said we had a great product, for example. We lost so much money because our main image was so basic. It was bland. It was a picture from far away. This was like 7 years ago. Realized the importance of the main image. And honestly, I would say it's one of the most important factors and one of the highest growth levers. Like, let's say all the other 4 images, we probably spend the same amount of time as the main image. And that's just a learning lesson that we had to go through and lose a lot of money on storage fees because the item wouldn't sell fast enough. I think we lost like 15 grand on an item that once we changed the main image, the sell-through rate 4x. But the reason we lost so much money was Q4, you pay triple the storage fee. And that's where we kind of make sure that we implement these and we make sure it's a part of this process. And the third one is CVR, conversion rate. After they click through, if they're not buying, everything else is irrelevant, right? You just paid for a click. Actually, it's actually worse because you had a cost per click occur, but they never went through and bought it. And then last but not least, again, is AOV, or lifetime value, basically. Are you getting, actually made another video for lifetime value just last week or 2 weeks ago, is how much are you leveraging the revenue from that single customer over the lifespan? And many people think it's not possible with Amazon. We actually think it's a big crucial part. And it's also part of a learning lesson where we're able to bid more. We were like on supplements, we were losing keywords, but now we can bid much more because we're getting much more lifetime value. So that's just a high level overview of where we're at today, our system that we implement for all of our brands. It's based on, like I said, a decade of hardship and great experiences, honestly. Not great money wise, but great fun wise and great learning wise. It was a long journey to get here. I'll probably go into more details or stories in the future. I mentioned a lot with my friends, and thankfully, like one of the cool things, a lot of people I started with are still with me today. They've been with the company for 9, 8, 9, 10 years. Great people that we invest a lot in because they're the backbone of the growth. Like I said, 150 people. That this wouldn't be possible without. I'm just a speaking figure. Maybe they know a lot maybe on the specialties and all that kind of stuff. But I enjoyed every bit of it. I'm very excited to what's to come. We're looking to exponentially grow a lot of the brands that we partner with. If you want this to happen to your brand and want to implement this system to grow it on Amazon, other marketplaces, we averaged 30%, at 34, I think, percent year over year growth. Last year was our numbers. So come check us out. Go to Voadera.com, book a strategy call right over here, and submitting your information, and we could possibly work something out if there's alignment and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, if you're under a million a year, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and make sure to tune in to hopefully get your brand there one day, and maybe we can work together on it.